here, coming back to you with the series that is ongoing, understanding service and stewardship. Understanding service and stewardship. And today's topic is relationship is service. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and share this message with your friends and family members. Share, share, share. And we're going to be talking today about relationship. Relationship is service. You see, when we talk about relationship, most people see relationship as a duty. To a lot of people, relationship is a duty, and people look at it as something that they must do to someone, or something that someone has to do to them. Well, I want you to look at relationship from a different perspective today. And since we are talking about the meaning of life, and which service is the meaning of life, whenever you think in terms of anything, think service. Anything. Whenever you think about relationship, think service. Whenever you think about leadership, think service. Whenever you think about ministry, think service. Whenever you think about church, think service. Whenever you think about God, think service. Whenever you think about children, think service. Whenever you think about husband, think about serving. Whenever you think about wife, think service. Whenever you think about country, think service. Whenever you think about anything, your job, think service. So relationship, don't think of relationship in terms of duty or responsibility. Yes, it's good to have responsibility, it's good to be responsible, it's good to have a duty towards a country, towards your family, towards your relationships, towards your friend, towards your boyfriend, towards your husband, wife, towards your spouse, towards your fiance, and things. But duty will not last you too long. Even responsibility will not always guarantee you the best relationship. But if you think about relationship in terms of service, wow, then you know that you are moving in the right direction. Because service is one of the most important things in life. In fact, service is the whole essence of life. Is the meaning of life. The meaning of life should be seen and demonstrated in service. Yeah, let me even tell you about something about life. When we talk about life in general, there are only a few things that are important in life, or that are the most important in life. And those things are, first of all, let me tell you the things that we think are important but are not really as important. We think that things that are important in life is us. Well, we are important, but if you live your life just around yourself, you will end up frustrated. No, don't ever make yourself pleasuring yourself, making yourself happy, focusing on yourself, making yourself the center of your life. Don't ever make it the priority. Don't take yourself too serious. Be serious about life, be serious about your life, but don't take yourself too serious. If you take yourself too serious, you are going to be pushing yourself. You are going to be selfish. And selfish people are toxic people. You are going to be toxicating everywhere, and people are going to notice it. So life is not about self. Life is about others. Or let me say, life is about service to others. Your life is giving you not to serve yourself, but to serve others. So that's one of the wrong things that people think life is about. Life is about me. I, me, and mine. No, wrong. When you live like that, you become dangerous, you become toxic, you become frustrated, you become depressed, you become angry, you become a parasite, and you become a killer, a destroyer. No, that's a dangerous life. So life is not about you. Life is not about self. Life is about service. Service to God, service to others, service to people around you. Not because it is a duty or responsibility, but just understanding of life. Now, so when you think about anything in life, there are three things that are important. So, like I said, the things that are not so important is one, don't make that mistake of thinking that you are at the center of life. It's all about you. When you live like that, you live an egocentric life, it's not pretty. Then other things that people think is really very important about life is that life is about, people think life is about survival, making a living, money. No. Those things are means. They are tools that you could use to serve and to do greater things, to be to minister to others, to love others. Those are just tools. A lot of people also think that life is about power. No, life is about service. You use power to serve. You use money to serve. You don't live for money. You don't live to make money. You don't live to gain power. And the other thing people think life is about wisdom, knowledge, being educated. No, you don't live to get wisdom, to be educated. Life is, that's another tool. It's just a tool. So those are the major mistakes that people make in life. They build their lives around self. They build their lives around making money. They build their lives around getting power, and they build their lives around getting wisdom. But all that is still around for them to be able to showcase themselves and to make themselves better than others, to make themselves superior to others, and to make themselves be respected. But the real respect in life, the real essence of life comes, and the real meaning and beauty of life comes when you understand that no, you are there. Yes, you are important, but you are there to serve. Yes, money is okay, money is important, money is good, but money is there for you to serve. Okay, power is good, you can get power, go for it, but that the aim of you getting that power is to serve. Yes, wisdom is beautiful, but the reason and the motive of wisdom is for you to use it to serve. So when we understand this, your whole philosophy of life changes, and you begin to look at life totally differently. So, but today I'm talking about relationship. Relationship is one of the most important things in life, but when we think about relationship, frankly speaking, of course I'm talking about service, but I'm just trying to. So the topic of the whole series is service, but I'm picking on some things that we should understand service from what perspective. So I'm still looking at relationship now. So relationship is one of the most important things in life. And when you think about relationship, you need to think about it from the point of view of service. Because when you look at relationship, a lot of people look at relationship from the perspective of duty. They look at relationship from the perspective of responsibility and something that they have to do. And when you do it like that, when you look at it like that, you feel the weight of it. You feel the heaviness of responsibility resting on you. But when you know that, relationship is just another way of serving. Relationship is another way of serving God, serving people, making people happy. It changes everything. So let's stop about that relationship. So I think I should tell you other things that are most important apart from service. So I said there are only a few things that are important. Service. Apart from service, another thing that is important, which means you have to look at life from their perspective. So look at life from the perspectives of relationship or stewardship. Look at life from the perspectives of service or stewardship. So anything you look at, when you look at your life, or think about it in terms of service, serving God, serving people. When you look at people, look at them, in terms of how can you serve them. When you look at your husband, think about service. When you look at your wife, think about service. When you look at your children, think about service. So 3 things that are important through which you have to be looking at life that really that bring about the meaning of life. So that's why I'm talking about relationship, because apart from service, the other most important thing in life is relationship. So when you think about relationship, you want to think about it also from the perspective of service. Then the other thing that is very important in life, and that is also one of the most key things in life, is leadership. So when you look at leadership as well, but always look at it from the perspective of service as well. So look at relationship from the perspective of service, leadership from the perspective of service, everything from the viewpoint of service. All right. So let's talk about relationship from the perspective of service. So if you look at your relationship with your husband, with your children, and you look at it as a way of serving them, everybody will become happy. And now it could get sour if you are the only one who is looking at relationship as a means of service. If the other guy is not looking at relationship as a means of service or as a way of service, things could be very, very rough. Things could be very, very bad. But if they look at it that same way, as a way and means of service, then you have a blaze in your relationship. But when it comes to business as well, any relationship you have, even business relationship, that is a good way also to look at it. So you produce whatever you are producing or whatever job you are doing or whatever work you do as a means to serve other people. If you do that and you give people the best of service, well, that will really reward you greatly because you're going to be wealthy, because people will patronage you, people will come to you, people will be attracted to you, and people will, they will bring money to you because they will be buying your stuff because you are the one that is really serving them, servicing their needs and meeting their needs. So whatever relationship you have, look at it as service. Now, so when we talk about relationship, how can you serve in relationship? The most important way to serve in relationship is to serve by communicating. One of the most important things in relationship is communication. If you don't have the communication in a relationship, you don't have a relationship. So by communicating, you're actually serving. We are serving people. So if you say you have a relationship with friends and there is no communication, maybe you don't really have that relationship. So but communicating is one of the ways that by which you serve the other person in a relationship, in a family as well, in husband-wife relationship. If you live together with somebody in a house and you say you have a relationship with them and you don't really ever talk to them, there is no communication. So the biggest problem there is that there is no service. It means you are not serving one another. It means either you, the husband, is not serving your wife by communicating with her, or the wife is not serving the husband by communicating with him. But when we are talking of relationship, the most precious thing in a relationship is communication. But communication will not always come naturally. When we fall in love with one another as husband and wife, initially, you don't need to demand communication. Communication comes naturally. You just flow. You flow and communicate with one another because of the adrenaline and the emotions and the instincts that are driving you at that point. So, because of chemistry. So the chemistry makes you to naturally communicate with the person you love. But because you have been living together all the time and because you now have that person as part of your life and because you are already used to one another, so what happens normally is that, you just get busy doing other things because that person is no more that kind of priority like when you are just in love. So you could lose out in communication with one another. And relationships begin to die when that communication stops. So that is when you need to begin to look at relationship and life in general as service. So for somebody that looks at life as service, then they will not really suffer from this a lot, because if they already know this as a value system, if they already know this, that life is about service and that relationship is also about service, and that they don't need to wait for chemistry, they don't need to wait for instincts and stimuli or reflexes to talk and maintain communication in their relationships, then they already know it. And if they make it their value system and they begin to live a life of communication, and they know that it is service, so I don't then go and begin to organize communication with my wife just because I feel like it. But in most homes, people don't talk to each other. And the reason they don't talk to each other is because they say, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about, or they say, no, I don't just feel like talking. And that's following your feelings. That's following your instinct, if you think like that. But in the real sense, if you look at relationship as service, so you ask yourself, how can I serve in this relationship? What are the tools of service that I have in this relationship? If you look at life as service, and you'll always be thinking, okay, how can I serve these people? And when it comes to relationship, the best way, almost on the only way, the best way to serve in a relationship is communication. Now, but if you are not educated and you are not taught about this thing, you could think of other things. For example, for men, they think that relationship, the best thing or the best way for them to maintain a relationship is sex. So husband and wife could be thinking, especially husbands, that we're having sex, then we have relationship. Well, that's going to be selfish, and it's not going to make your wife happy because she wants to talk. So the best way to maintain a relationship is not sex. Sex is also a form of communication, but it doesn't come first, it comes last. So the highest level of communication, the number one way to maintain relationship is through communication. The highest way of maintaining relationship is through communication. So the best thing you could do in your relationship is communicate. Make sure you communicate. Communicate with your friends, with your wife, with your husband, with your children. Communication is one of the best ways to maintain a relationship. So communication is one. So when you know that you are at home and you don't feel like talking, but once you know that it is service, relationship is all about service, then you go and communicate, because even though you don't feel like doing it, but you will still communicate because it's a service. So I don't feel like communicating, but I'm sacrificing myself, because I'm sacrificing my comfort by communicating, because I know I'm serving this way. This is the best way for me to serve. So you're at home and you say, well, I don't just feel like saying anything. I don't have anything to say. But when you know it is a service, then you go and communicate and serve, especially because you know that it is service. So I don't feel like talking. I don't feel like saying anything, but I want to serve you by maybe listening to you, or by asking you questions, or by answering your questions. So communication is the best way to maintain relationship as a service. So when you look at communication, or communicating with your friends, communicating with your family, communicating with people that you are in relationship with, see it as a service. Through communication, you are serving those people, and communication is the best way to maintain that relationship with them. Now, there are other things to do in relationship to maintain your relationship and make it a blessing. How do I say? There are other ways to serve in a relationship. So the best way to serve in a relationship is by just communicating. Communication could be in different ways. But the second way to serve in a relationship, and the second way to maintain a relationship, and through service, the best way is through communication, but communication in general. So, but what is the most important thing in communication? So you want to, like I said, the most important thing in relationship is communication. But in communication itself, what is the most important thing? That is also a way of serving. But the most important thing in communication is not talking. So if you say you don't feel like talking, well, you don't have to talk, because that talking is even not the most important thing in a relationship, in a communication. So you have communication, but the talking is not the most important thing in communication. Remember, life is about service. So relationship is also about service. So, but relationship, what is the most important thing in relationship? Is communication. But what is the most important thing in communication? It's not talking. So what is it that is the most important thing in communication? In communication, the most important thing is listening. So listening is more important than talking. So when but to listen also, you have to serve, because there are a lot of people that just want to talk. And when you want to talk all the time, you chase people away. You destroy relationship. You only talk when people want to listen to you. You should only talk when people want to listen to you. Don't frustrate people by just talking all the time, because people want to be heard as well. Other people want to talk as well. Other people want to share their own opinion. But It's easier to talk, actually. It's easier to talk, especially when you are talking about yourself. But it's much more difficult to listen. So when you talk about communication in relationship or communication in general, don't be too eager to just talk. Think more of how to listen and try to discipline yourself more through the act of listening. Listening is the most important form of communication. Listening is what is the most important in communication. And also, listening is service. Only somebody that has the heart to serve the other person, only the person that has the heart to minister to other person, to give himself to the other person, will silence his ego, will keep his mouth shut while other people are talking what they want to talk about. And to keep on listening to them is a really big of service. It's a really big act of service. And so that act of service is most important in communication, listening. Now, why is listening a great service? Because listening, when you listen to people, you actually show to them that they are important. So listening gives importance. That is a service. Listening also heals. Because when somebody knows that he's being listened to, is important, when you listen to him, he gets healing. So you heal people just by listening to them. That is service. And when you listen to people, people don't just feel they're important or be healed, but people also know that they are accepted. So when people know that they are accepted, that is also, you are giving them service. So life is all about service. But particularly when we're talking about communication, well, listening is the best way to serve people in communication. And that is service. That is service. So people can get healed, but listening does more than that. When you listen to people, listening has the power and the ability to bring you success. Because when you're listening to people, you are listening to their wisdom. And when you apply that wisdom, you'll be successful. When you are listening to people, you get their experiences, you get their secrets. It could bring you to prosperity because you'll be learning the things that are responsible for their own greatness. Most of the violences or most of the conflicts in relationship that actually happen because of the absence of distance. When relationship is not about service, basically you are going to be having a lot of conflict, a lot of crisis, a lot of fights in that relationship. That's number one. Number two, when you have relationship and there is no communication, there'll be a lot of crisis as well and a lot of fight. And finally, when you are in a relationship and nobody wants to listen, it's going to be very bad. It's going to lead to a break in that relationship. Or when only one party is only talking, the other party is not being listened to, it's going to be bad. So basically, I'm just trying to say that everything in life is about service, including the most important aspects of our lives, including relationship. Relationship should be about service. I'm still going to do one more about relationship, how to steward your relationship. But but this is one of the ways that I've talked about: communication, listening. So these things should be able to help you. But the bottom line is service. You maintain relationship, you grow relationship, you build a great relationship by listening and by serving. by communicating, but most importantly by serving. Well, I think that's that's all I have to tell you today. And I would like to encourage you to go share this message, share. And also, if you want to join our mentorship class, which is for free on the net, go to my blog, sundaydelajablog.com/mentorship. If you also wish to go with us to Nigeria, join our Nigerian team, go to sundaydelajablog.com/Nigeria. If you wish to buy my books, you can get them on Amazon or on Okada Books, but you can also read them for free on Kindle Unlimited. If you want to be receiving our messages every day, we can be sending them to you. Just send us your number, your telephone number, and your WhatsApp number to our number. And our number is +38 098 596 3838. So send us your number and we'll be sending you our messages every day. And I guess that's all for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Hello and welcome to the program. And in this segment of the interviews with Pastor Sunday Adelaja, who is the senior pastor of the Embassy of God in Kiev, Ukraine, we're still going to continue talking about the different ministries within the church. You heard earlier about how he spoke about the soup kitchen. That's different from the normal soup kitchens as we know it. And the fact that the people that come to the soup kitchen go through a process. They go through a cleansing period where they actually take their outfits off, wash them, and release them to go into the church to be ministered to with the Word of God. And also from there, they go to study, Bible teaching lessons, then the soup kitchen, then into other areas, rehabilitation. It's a whole package. He talked about the prison ministry, talked about the orphanage, and the work is phenomenal. And you know what? This time around, we'll be talking about the other aspects of the ministry. I intentionally decided to just stick to the agenda this way so that we can learn a lot from what he has done and why he's very, very successful. He wrote the book, Pastoring Without Tears. And he said something to me at the end of the last interview. He said the church is built on a structure. He said it is the structure that's sustaining the church, not the pastor. So if he's there or not, the church will still run. And that's where you and I want to be as pastors. So the church can run whether we're there or not. So God bless you as you continue to watch. Welcome again to the program, sir.
Thank you.
This side of the program, I know the previous one we talked about facts and figures, the statistics that make it clear so that people out there who just see you on TV say, wow, this man has got the crowd. Maybe he's got a formula in place. And we know the formula is the fact that you have structures in place. And majority of the ministries within the church are outward looking, not inward looking.
No.
So this side of the program, we just want to hear from you about, the other ministries, for you to break it down for the benefit of pastors, because some pastors, they see you do it, but they don't know. They haven't been here, but I pray that God will make it possible for them to be here in the future. So we're going to be talking about the newcomers ministry.
Okay.
We have one here you call the G12 system. What is the G12 system?
Well, G12 system is very similar to the renowned, acclaimed G12 cell group system that is from Colombia. But this is not from Colombia. This is different. What happened was that there was a time when our church was 8,000 people, and I was concerned that it stagnated for about a year. We're 8,000 and we're not growing, but yet people were giving their lives. So I wondered why this? Why is the church not growing, oh Lord? So I began to pray to God about it. And that was when God spoke to me and said, you know what, you just need to produce more leaders. Then I saw a vision where I saw Jesus in a cloud, and then behind him, his disciples. And then I saw myself. He said, do the same thing. Pour yourself, everything you know, into 12 people, and let each one of them pour themselves into each their own 12 people. And then those ones will pour themselves into their own 12 people. And that multiplication will be sustained. So I said, oh, wow, I got it. So that was where, before I got to know or get in touch with the Colombia people, that was how I got the idea from.
So when you implemented it, what happened?
The church exploded, went from 8,000 to 12 to 15,000.
Wow, that is serious. So do you still teach this principle?
Yes,
regularly?
we use it basically now to disciple people, so that you are responsible for 12 people minimum that you disciple and you make into leaders. So we discovered that it's more important to make leaders than to make followers. So we focus now not on using it to bring more people to God, to Christ, but to use them to sustain and develop other people who have come to Christ into being leaders themselves.
Wonderful. Then you got this other ministry called the Trust Line. What is the Trust Line?
Trust Line is the 24 hours hotline that is called Trust Line, so that people could trust people they are talking to. So it's our 911 is like 24 hours hotline where people could call in and tell us, our consultants, what their problems are. Then we pray for them, like a prayer line.
Okay.
We pray for them, minister to them, and give them consultation for free.
Wow.
So we've had maybe over maybe 500,000 people consulted through that.
The Trust Line?
Yes.
And they man 24 hours?
Yes.
This is wonderful. So what kind of people do you get put there? Are they trained by the church?
Yes, they are trained as psychologists and psychologists and people who have human relations, and we sustain them and pay them to man the telephone 24 hours.
Wonderful. Then you got the Joshua Bible Institute.
Yes, that is the mission. We have in our Bible, in our school, in our church here, Embassy of God, we have 30 schools. Not high schools or primary schools, just 30 different institutions, schools of different directions. So this particular one is the direction that prepares missionary, because we believe that our church, our main trust is missionary, is to be a missionary church. So this is the Joshua Institute that goes to possess the land. That's why they are called Joshua, the Joshua generation. There is full-time school every day, Monday to Friday.
So how long is the course for?
It's just a year.
A year?
Because we believe in not retaining people in a school for more than a year, because then they lose the fire. 1 year is enough to keep the fire and have enough knowledge to go with.
Wonderful. Missionary Center.
The Missionary Center is the arm of the church that is in charge of all our churches. We have about 700 churches in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine, and that's why we have a bishop. Even though I'm the founder and the senior pastor of this church, yet I'm not the bishop of the church. We have a bishop. So I'm just a pastor, but we have a bishop that is in charge.
Who is above you?
No, he's one of my disciples.
Okay.
That I trained for the government, for official status. Yes, it's like the bishop is above the pastor. But I don't like to be a bishop. I don't like the big titles. I'm not interested in that. So I trained one of my disciples. He came also from an alcoholic, but he's a big man now. So he's the one taking care of all the. So he's on the direction of the work is to take care of the missionary vision, to start planting churches, sustain those churches, and look after them. So I don't need to do all that.
Amen. Then you got politics. This one, a lot of churches will say we don't do politics, and you don't get a lot of politicians in church. But what is the politics ministry doing?
Well, we have a school of politology, they call it, or political science school, where we train our people who want to go into politics. So we train them, disciple them, and release them into the political realm to bring the influence of the kingdom of God there.
Wonderful. Then you were sharing with us last time. I really thank God for your life, because it's like you have solid vision, and I know that if it's left to a human being, you can't run with with all these visions, because it will be hard. But it's got to be God that put these things in your head, because so many churches, but you see all these listed ministries, you don't even have them in a lot of churches. So, but I really thank God for your life for that, But You were sharing with me last time that the ministry started 2 political parties from within the church.
Yeah, actually 3.
Okay.
With at least 3 political parties have been started from the church here. And one of them is the one that is controlling the city of Kyiv, the mayor, and 30% of the parliament seat of the state, of the city capital.
30%?
Yes.
From the church?
Yes.
Unbelievable. And that is, so, and the mayor is from the church as well?
Yes.
So how were you able to, get them to start these parties and then, get people to support? Because, for instance, in England, a lot of Christians don't even vote. They just sit in church every day. If you call for prayer, for breakthrough, the church is packed. When it's prayer for kingdom come, they don't bother. And yet, they don't even vote. So they just sit there, and so many decisions are made, which is against the church, and everyone is powerless.
Well, we used to have the same situation in the Ukraine. To a large extent, it's still like that with other churches. But I discovered that if I was going to wait for other churches to come together for something to be done, unity, in the name of unity, let's all come together, they will never come together. They don't have the vision. I discovered that only the man that has the vision has got to do it. So I began to take all the responsibility upon myself, because God told me, take responsibility for the nation. Don't wait for anybody. Don't think that you are not this, you are not that, you are not a citizen, you are not white, you are not... you are not, you are sufficient in me, and all your sufficiency are in me. So don't think you are insufficient in something, or you are incapable of anything. So I began to take responsibility for the whole country, and we began to do everything just from our church, and God is blessing it. And the result we're having, all the churches and all the Christians put together might not be able to have the same result we're having, just because we are proactive.
Wonderful. That's one other thing I learned from you, that when you catch a vision, don't waste your time talking about it. Just run
or
with
waiting for other people to join.
Yeah, just run with it. God bless you. Arts ministry.
Yes, we believe that we cannot change the culture without changing the values and the norms and the morals of the society. And the norm and the moral of the society is mostly being dictated by the culture of the society. When you talk about the culture of the society, you are talking of the art, you are talking of the folklore, you are talking about the music, you're talking about the jokes, the mode of life, the lifestyle, so we have art ministry that is reaching out to things that people think is part and parcel of the lifestyle here. So they reach out to theaters, they reach out to circuses, they reach out to we call it not soap opera, but opera.
Okay.
Dancing,
musical,
ballet.
Ballet, okay.
Ballet, yeah. So ballet, when they dance, the ladies fly, and all that. So those are kind of the culture here. And so then they minister to musicians and the entertainment world. Everything about art, all the entertainment, art, music. So we have all forms of outreaches to those kind of world.
Wonderful. I'm really impressed, because some months ago, I went to watch a musical in England called The Jesse Boys. It's about a group of musicians in America who formed the group The Jesse Boys. And they sang some very popular songs. And my wife and I sat in the theater watching this program, this show. And they were swearing at different points as part of the act. And we saw that most of the places where they were swearing, it wasn't necessary. The performance was first class. The songs were superb. So there was no need to swear. When you swear, it's like you just messed up the whole show. But to the people sitting there, it was normal. And I thought, so my wife came out and said, God, when are we going to have Christians who would have plays like this and remove all this swearing and make it tidy and neat for family to be able to enjoy? And that's
those are the alternative way of supply in the society. But we don't just supply the alternatives. We also infiltrate ourselves into the existing system, so that we could bring the light into darkness.
Wonderful. Then you got the social center. What's the social center, sir?
The social center is a department of the church that is supposed to reach out to all the social needs of the society. They reach out to, let's say, the men, the women, the children, all the social ills of the society.
drug addictions, alcoholism. They are the ones that are starting NGOs. Anything we detect in the society that is not all right, the social department take responsibility to find somebody to take it up and to start an NGO to push for the government to pass a law about that or to change that or that, things like that.
Wow.
Corruption, security, everything that just anything that's a concern, that is an ill in the society, the social department takes on it.
Yeah, because I was at a meeting yesterday and I heard people talking about registering NGOs, and as a result, the local politicians and even the police are beginning to work with them to deal with those things.
Yeah.
And even there was one in which I think it was a lady. She was talking about setting up this one of these NGOs to affect certain areas, and the impact it has had. It has transformed so many lives. Yeah. And that's why this is wonderful. What you're doing is really great.
It's not a church as usual. It's like a nation.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. If you're upset about it, do something about it.
Yes. You've got to fix it because we are the light of the society, of the world, and we are the salt of the earth. So God didn't say wait for government to fix it or wait for the police to fix it. You are the light. So we go fix it. Not just talk about it, preach it. We're not just preaching it. We form a system and a structure that releases people and encourages people and empowers people to see it as their personal responsibility. Not the church doing it, not the church paying for it. We just facilitate.
Wow. So tell me, if, for instance, some of these, the big guys, we have the big guys in America, we have the big ones in England. If they want to get in touch with you to send some of their leaders over to learn this structure so that they can actually start implementing, because these ministries make a lot of money. They make millions of dollars. But in actually affecting the nation or the local community, we don't see it. But here, it's everywhere.
Well, I don't believe that you have a ministry until you begin to affect your society. You don't have a ministry, you have a club.
Wow.
Yeah, you have a club. The impact and the definition of ministry, the impact of your ministry is supposed to be judged not by how many people gather. Some discotheque gather more people, and any stadium gather more people than any church does. That's not a big deal.
Wow.
But when you begin, your effectiveness must be measured by how much you have turned that society upside down. That is how the disciples were mentioned themselves. These that turned the world upside down have come here. So if you are not turning that society upside down, you are not doing much really. You might be having a cultural club, a religious club. It's just like the people going to the pub. They go there to get themselves entertained and relieved. And people go to church to get themselves entertained and relieved as well.
Serious.
Only people use different methods.
Wow.
Those ones use methods of being high on drugs or on alcohol. And we use the method of being high on messages. Oh, that message was great. Oh, what a word. It's like being addicted. We are being high on those things. And then the music, ooh, what an anointing. It's just the same addiction. It's being high. We are looking after pleasure because we are looking after pleasure there. Now we're still looking after pleasure. It's about me, satisfied. Wow, wow, anointed. Ooh, I feel good. Ooh. Nobody cares for the need of heaven.
Wow. So are you, if any of those ministries get in touch to send their leadership around, is your ministry in a position to actually help build them up? Because the hunger is to actually take the whole world. And it's not just Ukraine alone. It's to equip others to do so. Would the ministry here be willing to actually help on that front?
There will be no problem whatsoever. That's why we started this school in England, the History Makers Bible School. And besides that, we will also be willing to invite people down here and do some more intensive course of training for as many as will be willing to come.
Yeah, because I was actually going to talk about that, because what the History Makers is doing is just teach them, prepare them, release them. But then they haven't been here to see what's what on the ground, to even take on some more in-depth teaching They're just moved by the teaching they receive, which is enough fire, but to actually catch the spirit completely, to be able to run with it successfully, you need to be here on the ground to see all these things, to see how it works.
The Russians have an adage that says that it's better to see once than to hear 1,000 times.
That's correct. Yeah, there's a local saying in Africa as well, to that effect.
That says?
There's a local saying that says...
Similar to that?
Similar to that. It said, to see is far superior to hearing.
Yes.
Wow. Then you got the youth ministry, Schemens.
Yes, we have different kind of youth ministries, but this particular ones you're talking about, is Schemens, is the youth ministry that is targeting successful young people, the successful youth. So their target is to become successful themselves as young kids from teenage years, become professionals, and then they target professionals like them. And then they take responsibility to build the new politics in Ukraine, the new business, the new media, and all that. They're focusing on releasing new professionals that are devoid of all the past Russian corrupt past. They want to position themselves as to be the new politicians in the country in the next 10, 20 years and all that.
Bless you, sir. Thank you so much for that. On that note, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you've been blessed by what you heard. And you need to be selfless, just like the man of God just shared with us. God bless you. We'll be back with you soon. Pastor Sunday Adelaja, the pastor of the largest...
If you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still, we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And finally, we need you to go and share the word. Share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much.